Hey, welcome back everybody. In this video, we're gonna see about a full guide about web development, how the web was work in the browser, your projects work in the browser, and how to deploy and what are the tools and technologies to use in the future to make a place in a big orders company. What are the tools and technologies are used in web browser and to make manage your data and to hold on in your environment. So start with tools and technologies. First is what are the tools need to be compulsory in our um, machine to run our web browsers, web apps in the browser. So first, we need a text editor for editing a code. And what is mean by text editor? It's mean by where your code can be edited and formatted and save it and run it. So that is more compatible for editing your code in a browser than in the text editor. So my recommendation is to just download the Visual Studio Code. It's a free environment and make a sense, and it's very powerful one platform for code editing. Next is I really love Sublime, but there's no extensions but I like Sublime because of a color contrast, so it's very awesome, and I suggest you to download that also if you can this. So first recommendation is Visual Studio Code, second is Sublime, and third can be an Atom. So I really do Atom for a month ago, so I'm not comfortable with Atom, so there are extension problems, so I really comfortable with now Visual Studio Code. You can download it for free. The link is in the description, or you can visit the visualstudiocode.com to get our app. Next, browser. We need a browser to run our web application, web application or website. So you need a web browser to run a web application. So I recommended Chrome or Firefox. My first recommendation is Chrome. It very popular cross platform and it done all the work pretty good. And Firefox is something it okay, but it won't support all the data, such as I'm speaking about all the data, all not elements. So first recommendation is to download Chrome, or you have leave it. Next is extension for VS Code. You need an extension for VS Code for managing your time in coding. So you need an extension for VS Code for live viewer. If you change settings in your keyboard, it won't change because it need a live server. When you typing a code and saving it, if you need to refresh the browser only, the browser will show you modified content. So you need to just install the live server extension. The name of the extension is live server. So you can download the extension, and when you just enable it and write the code in your editor and just save it, it will automatically refresh your browser. You need not to refresh the browser. So it's very time manageable extension for web developers. So at last, what are the additional settings to make for web development? These are the tools have using of many more peoples are using these applications, so it's very popular and it's very free source, so you can try it. First is for designing. uh, there are many designing apps for photo editing, like illustration and Photoshop. So you can get a free source of GIMP. So it is nearly similar dashboard to our Photoshop. So you can try the GIMP, download and edit the photos in such a manner you edit it in Photoshop. so it's a paid version, and GIMP is also a free version. You can try it. And Figma is to create a web designing or web app, uh, and you can just copy them and paste it in their text editor. So it's very easy to understand the Figma concept. So it's very easy to design a website or mobile app. You can try anything in the Figma, so it for designing purpose. Next, terminal. Terminal is to push a code to a third-party app like GitHub, or you need to push your code to a web server called anything called AWS or Oracle. So you need some terminal to push a code, and you can run the code in the terminal also. When you write some Node.js codes, I will talk in spoke future videos that Node.js is a backend application, not an application. It's a backend language to write your code in JavaScript and run it in that Node.js. Node.js, I will talk it. Now Git Bash. Git Bash is like a symbol of Git. You need to download a Git. It's a version control, so you can control many versions like GitHub, Amazon Web Service, and cloud computing. Mm, so much like Heroku. Yeah, it's fine. You can download this additional files also if you can. So we moving on, and next first part of our session. So first part of the session is front end development. So just keep in mind what's meant by front end development. Front end development, especially the front end development, contains three area. First is a skeleton. What's mean by skeleton in the HTML web development is HTML. HTML has a skeleton part to make your bones there, and CSS is a muscle part where you have a muscle there, and JavaScript is your nervous part. These all need to be function together to make awesome website. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript are easiest language that you need to start first, and there are few frameworks for HTML called Bootstrap, and CSS for as sass, sass is more powerful to beautiful your CSS codes. So at last, JavaScript is meant by jQuery, and is so useful to use, and it will be more powerful than any other thing. So first I need to tell what is meant by framework. Framework means someone write the bunch of codes and keep it in your file of jQuery website, so you can retrieve it and use that code by yourself. You need to code, but there will be complexity in the code, not a complexity like just a less amount of code to be there. So just see what are the language should you learn first for beginning as a front-end developer. So just start it. Okay, first you need to learn about HTML and CSS basics. First, HTML elements to learn about attributes, formatting tags, and input tags, forms. So these are the fundamentals you need to learn in HTML. Then move it to basics. When you really loud and program HTML, you can do CSS with it. First, I need to tell the HTML how it works. HTML is a hypertext markup language. It only markups a language. It means just telling the instructions. You need to like this. You need to like that. So HTML is a basic language for programming. Many programmers learn HTML as their base language, so it's easy to learn and understand what are the capacities and what are the stylings are used in HTML and CSS. So next you need to move on. If you're compatible with HTML, next move on to basic CSS. CSS has many portions like positioning, flexbox, grid, transition, and skew. First, positioning, if you can see the HTML logo in our video. Now how to do the spacing of HTML logo in the browser? So you need to position that in the browser. like a flex box, when you use the website in a mobile, you need to have the flexbox mode so it can be flexed with each other. So grid also like that, and transition to make awesome animations. Next is a responsive design. You need a responsive design as a good developer. Responsive design is nothing but as it need to be comfortable with using mobile also. So for that you need to learn about media query screen and viewport and grid. These all the things you need to learn in the responsive design. At next, if you're easy familiar with HTML and CSS, then move to JavaScript. JavaScript is a language, I mean by scripting language to script your um, elements in the browser. That means when you click the button in the web browser, it need to tell what to do, and it will retrieve the information that you need to do. For learning JavaScript, you need to learn a normal JavaScript. It's mean by vanilla JavaScript. For that, there are many resources like W3 Schools and Tutorial Points and Code Academy, and you can use many interactive websites to code as your own. So first is normal JavaScript called vanilla JavaScript. Second, you need to learn the core concepts and the basics. First is data types. What are the data types in JavaScript? What are the conditionals in JavaScript? And loops in JavaScript, functions in JavaScript. Loops, functions, conditions are same in as many languages. So you no need to worry at all as coming to conditionals, loops, functions. It's very easy to learn. So just move it to second part when you're familiar with normal JavaScript as a basic level language. um, if you're a complete beginner, once you finish that, enter into DOM manipulation and events. DOM manipulation means I said previously that when you click the button it need to tell something. So the DOM manipulation means document object model. When you click that object model in a document, and it need to work something really cool so you can work with it. And events is also the same thing when you work with the two. And fetching APIs and JSON, I will spoke about a few videos back that API how works and JSON how works. To fetch a API, to make a API, to create a API, and JSON is works in the Node.js. And then when you're familiar with three topics, then learn ECMAScript. ECMAScript is a European scripted language which has combination of JavaScript plus their updates. You need to learn these familiar topics like premises, arrow function. Arrow function is very easy. If you follow our Instagram page, there will be more post for arrow functions and premises, template string, and async and await. These are the familiar topics to make your work easier. Next, moving to a framework. First, I need to talk about what is mean by framework and how it works. Framework is a language that someone has written already for you. I'm kidding. um, um, that you can use it for free. It's completely free. First I need to tell about frameworks, and I have spoken. First, HTML framework. There are many HTML frameworks, but my recommendation is a Bootstrap. It completely awesome on framework for HTML. So you can use it in your browser as just copying the code and making the CDN set in the web page and just go on coding. So it's easier to copy paste from Bootstrap. A good developer doesn't do that. But I didn't do that. I have coded of my own. So you need to code it of your own. Just you listen and understand it. So next, for CSS framework, there is a sass. It's more powerful framework. Make your um, website more beautiful. So at last, JavaScript framework. It reduces your code complexity to make something cool and awesome. It's mean by jQuery. and it's JavaScript framework. It's only JavaScript framework to make awesome things. That's all I will say with the JavaScript and jQuery. At uh, previous video I've spoken about a web app. There are three web app frameworks. What's the difference between the web app and the website? Website is mean by like a bootstrap. You can take the bootstrap. That's a website. It can be changed dynamically or statically. But the web app means like a Facebook, uh, like a Twitter. These are to call as web apps. So these web apps are like Gmail also. These web apps are changing dynamically with a minute, a second. It caused by the human fault. So there are three popular frameworks I have listed below, and data below at the side. These are the web app frameworks. First one is React.js, and next second one is Vue.js, third one is Angular.js. They are similar to their logos. Just see the logos, and I have analyzed something from the Google Trends that shows me that React.js, Angular.js, and Vue.js, when compared to Vue.js and AngularJS, React.js is more popular nowadays. So at the starting of past 5 years ago, the Angular was most powerful framework for web apps for designing Google email. Um, just Google email was created by the Angular framework. Now it's changing to the React, and I think so. So the Vue also in the form of current, just maintaining their distance with React. So it's fast increasing React probability to make things awesome and easier. And just move to the back-end development. These are, we have spoken about the front-end development. If you are not fast with that, slow with our video, you can just rewind and see it. Just moving on, back-end development. How back-end development works, and how it can be retrieved the data, and what are the languages used in backend and database. These complete backend have the database and the server level language also. First, I need to really say about JavaScript stack. I am a big fan of JavaScript and making a code for a month. So it's very popular stacks called mean stack and MERN stack. What's mean by mean? Mean means MongoDB, Express, Angular, Node.js. This is mean by mean. When you when you understand this core concept of this mean, you can develop an own app using these platform technologies like a MongoDB, Express, Angular, and Node.js. MERN means MongoDB, Express, React, Node.js. As previously we saw that the web app frameworks as React and Express as jumped into it. So my first recommendation is learn about JavaScript stack called mean and MERN. It consists of Node.js, Express, and MongoDB. MongoDB is a storage area to store your data and retrieve. It is a most powerful database to store and distribute your information all over the world. So next is Python stack. I really love the Python language because it's very easy to learn and make pretty awesome things in the Python. So my second recommendation is to learn Python as your core language and just switch it from the framework of Django or Flask. When compared to Django, Flask is more easier and familiar to learn. First learn Flask and next jump into Django. And these are really fit for the database called Postgres SQL. Postgres SQL. And third, PHP stack. This is the old school stack, not a old school stack, but it's more powerful. Many companies like Facebook are using PHP stack, Laravel PHP. These are used by PHP as a a language, and MySQL as a backend, and Apache as a server. These languages are used for making a good and awesome website. I think these three stacks you need to take one stack and concentrate on it and learn thoroughly for the core concepts. At last, other tools and texts to deploy, collecting information, how to collect your information, buying a domain, and hosting. Let's see. First, domain. If you're looking for a domain with a cheaper, I'm not sponsoring these websites because I'm just sharing information to you that Namecheap as giving a website domain for very cheap amount. Yeah, it's really true when compared to GoDaddy and Google Domains. So it's very awesome. So now you can buy a domain using a Namecheap. So it's very easy to buy, and GoDaddy is a second option, and Google Domains is also my option. You can buy anything in the Google Domains and GoDaddy. So my first option is Namecheap. You can just take it out. And second is web server, where you can serve your data um, into an area. If you're creating a static website like a blog, not a blog post, your portfolio, you need not have this server as a web service like cloud computing. When you're creating application like a Gmail, and you need you compulsorily necessary need of making a cloud computing because it store data and retrieve all over the world. So my first recommendation is to make a web server in Heroku, and it's work very pretty good. Heroku, and next AWS, and third Google Cloud. It's very often because Google Cloud is more powerful and retrieve data but not as secure. I think it's very secure, so you can see the Google Cloud and make use of it. Google Cloud is my first recommendation, and Google Domain is also my first recommendation. Namecheap is also my first recommendation. So you can check it out these websites to make your services very long and pretty good for the SEO analytics. Next, move on to a tool. Git and Git Bash. Git, I have spoke that Git is a version control to make a push a code into something like Heroku, AWS, and GitHub to make a repository. Has been, if you're creating a static website or a portfolio, you can have a free domain called GitHub pages, and you can push that into the GitHub repository and make a live code domain name .github.io, and it's very pretty cool and make a sense of it. Okay, at last, uh, uh, hosting of static websites or dynamic websites some more lighter and faster. You need a cPanel hosting area to host your data, so you can choose the cPanel to host your data just clicking and click open and just drag and drop into the cPanel. So it's pretty cool web site to deploy your app. So this is, I think, I need to end this session. I think you're very happy with this tools and technologies I've spoken before. So please subscribe to my channel to reach some subscribers count, so there will be a huge family in our channel. So let's signing off from Vicky. Bye.